1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Got a healthy gain level coming through. That's up front. Yep.
You seem to know better than me. I'm not a sound guy, so.
I try and pretend to be.
But I study film and TV.
Was I?
I study film and TV.
Yeah.
As opposed to. I'm not the opposite of this.
What's it like studying film and TV?
Not great.
No.
I think it'll get better. I don't know. Studying any kind of art form is a bit.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like how do you quantify art into something that could be like a Sibelius or marked or
even
something like that?
Try to grade upon it is.
Yeah, I suppose that's when it was audio engineering. It was like, well, it was okay, different because it was like you teach you techniques, and it was like, no, you've done that wrong. That sounds like shit. Like it's not. Music's fine. Yeah. Music's fine, but it's like, nah, you're facing the wrong way from the mic. Like I did that in my first fucking exam and it was bad. Like,
Did you study audio engineering?
I did, yeah. At SE down the road.
How was that?
You know, first year was great. First year was amazing. It was a really intense course. And the second year, it wasn't for me. No, so I just left. And then I went back. Then I went back a year later to try second year again, and quickly realised again it's not for me.
Wait, but could you go straight back into second year?
Yeah,
you dropped it. That's alright. Unless you didn't have to go back to start.
It was decent, but then I literally was only there for 2 months the second time round, and it's just like that's absolute useless. Like what the second year was, it was just totally not for me. Maybe it's different now. That was, oh my god, that was 5 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Is there any of that you like still? You must still use some of the stuff from that.
Pardon me, sorry?
You must still use some of the stuff from that day and what you did today.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the first year I learned so much, like so much about actual audio engineering, and use it all the time because we record. Well, we'd record all the time in my room and that, and just the techniques you use from that, you 100% hone them in, and it's fun to use them.
Yeah. I've started recording, so we're on the go.
Good.
Now I'm gonna say hello. So hello, Gianluca.
Giancarlo's my dad.
Is it?
Yeah.
So are you Italian or?
My dad's Italian.
Dad's Italian.
Kind of. Not really, but aye.
And then, so did you come over to Glasgow and then? So have you stayed here like all your life or?
Yeah, man. I was born in Paisley. So was my dad. No, it was like my great granddad. Beastman though. He was Italian.
Was it back in the 1910s? Quite a lot of Italians came over and stuff, and
you know, it could have been. It very well could have been.
I studied in. I remember we learned a wee bit about history in school.
Aye.
I think it was like quite a big immigration. Don't know why. Came over maybe just after the war or before the war.
I think that would have been just before then.
Yeah,
the first one.
Probably before the first one.
The first war. Jesus.
we're steadily approaching the third one.
Oh, I cannot wait, man. I think. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's weird.
What did your mum and dad do in Paisley for?
Well,
what was their kind of living? What did they?
Well, I was saying, my dad works in Merrins, as we said, in that restaurant. And my mum's a hairdresser in Maryhill.
Are they into music at all, or?
You know, yeah, definitely. I mean, my mum's side is Irish. Well, down from that, Mum was quite into back in the day, like Jimmy Somerville and like Men at Work and stuff like that. My dad was more into like Mark Bolan and really anything. But I suppose not massive music fans. Like none of them musicians, apart from my mum's side, there's other extended family that are musicians. But they were just more into music just for pleasure, which is good.
What hooked you then? How did you kind of get reeled in?
Because I felt like I needed something to do. I think when I was very young, I felt like I did nothing, but I was like aware of it.
What kind of age?
When you're like 10, 11.
That's quite young to be aware of that though.
I don't know. I was just aware. It's like people are really good at like football or rugby or something, or people are like, I know a lot of people who were like good actors, or were good at singing. But I was like, I can't. Right, I'm not good at anything. I'm not good at that. I need to find something that I'm good at. I don't know. It's probably just a lot of like anxiety, maybe. Like just. But then I started secondary school. I liked guitar, so I got into that, and then just like that's my thing. I'll do that.
So was that what you started like at 10? You started playing guitar then?
Well, I think it was like 13 when I went to high school.
Yeah,
but it was like maybe like a couple of years, I've been like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've just got a PS2. This is fine. Like, didn't really do much.
I said before as well, because we were having a wee bit of chat off air. I said we'd save it for the podcast, because I wanted to start with, I'm Alex.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to start with another Alex.
Yes.
Kapranos.
The big man.
Who was at your show in London.
Yes.
Because I remember seeing it on Instagram. What was the story there?
He's been a fan, apparently, since our one of the members of our team, Ollie, knows him quite well, and he sent the album through when we first played London in May of last year, and then he was unable to make it down on that. And then when we were going in the van down, Ollie texted us and said, "Oh, Alex is going to be there." I was like, "Oh, cool, it's class." Like, and then he's just really nice.
He seemed to be loving it.
He was like dancing in front of me and Mary for the whole time, but
you were too in the.
I was too much in the zone, too busy trying to work London on like a Tuesday night. Like, but
he's a good dancer as well.
He is.
We watched back some of their music videos.
He's got it down, man. He's got
a cool guy.
he's really cool. But yeah, he stayed and talked to us for a bit after. It absolutely lovely chap.
Yeah. Were they quite a big influence upon you? Because I kind of hear, if I listen to like Franz Ferdinand's first album, some of the stuff like the guitars on that. What's the second song on that album? Actually, I've got it written down. Actually,
you got it.
Tell Her Tonight. The way the guitars go back and forth on that, kind of reminds me of some of the stuff for years.
I mean, that was like one of the first albums that I knew kind of was there, because that came out when I was 9, and I also had my wee portable CD player. But that was one of the 3 albums in circulation that I just kept listening to all the time. And then obviously being a mum's hairdresser quite a lot when I was younger, always the radio. They were rapping on the radio all the time then. Yeah. So it was like first kind of like memories of like musical association. So it's like, oh, but that when what's the first single off the second album? It was like Do You Want To? When that came on, I was like, oh, that sounds like that. That was like the first time you could like associate that, being a young wee guy.
I remember when I was young and just being about, and like the radio would come on, and there was like certain bands that I could like recognise on the radio even from like 4 years old or whatever. It's like Coldplay would come on the radio and I'd be like, oh, that's Coldplay. Aye. I think Snow Patrol was another one. Like, oh yeah, those kind of bands kicking. Who were the other 2 albums that you said they were kind of in circulation?
One was one's kind of a cheat. One was a double disc Cream dance anthems from 2001, amazing, and the other one was Discovery by Daft Punk.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, actually,
that stands up, that album as well. That album's still mental.
It's incredible. Well, that and the first Scissor Sisters album, insane album.
When did the first Scissor Sisters album drop?
That must have been either 2003 or 2004 as well. Like,
they're a band you don't hear as much about now, actually.
Jake Shears put a soul album last year, and it was good.
Yeah,
I think I think they're more. It was more for like the kind of cult fans maybe, but the songs in it were incredible.
Yeah. But I quite like sometimes albums like that when the kind of, front person goes off and does something a bit different and kind of, it's a bit self-indulgent, but it's still quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it was quite barroom western a wee bit, actually, if I remember correctly. But it's good.
Yeah. Did you listen to the SLP album that came out last year?
I did, yeah. I'm into it. I do like a lot of songs on it. I wasn't hopeful though. I like Kasabian. But when I heard that tune with Little Sims, I thought it was the worst thing I'd ever heard in my life. To be fair, Little Sims was great on it. Yeah, I'm a big fan, but I just thought that
chorus is shit though. Yeah.
it's terrible. Can we swear?
Yeah, go.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. but that was like the rest of the album I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff on that.
Quite romantic in places. Yeah,
it's not some like kind of orchestral things going on in wee bits as well. Yeah, like Morricone type stuff.
It's total Morricone in bits. Yeah, absolute spaghetti.
It's weird to see how many artists are influenced by him. Like me, look at someone like Alex Turner as well.
Yeah,
it takes a lot from him. It's not someone you would expect to kind of have such an influence upon a lot of these bands. Even Kasabian, with like Stevie and things like that, and that tune, that's very Morricone as well.
Oh no, absolutely. But I mean, we talk about Alex Turner and that, and then Last Shadow Puppet's first album. I didn't really listen to the second that much, but that was essentially a spaghetti western soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Scott Walker rip-off as well.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little bit too much. I prefer the second one, to be honest, out of those 2.
I think the second one was, I listened to bits of it and it was really good, but I just remember when that first album came out, I was like, this is great. But it was like still at the start of secondary school, and Favourite Worst Nightmare just came out, and I'd just be like, oh wait, or it been out for
it was a year after, wasn't it?
It was a year after, but I just got onto it a bit late, and I was like, wait, but that's just came out. How did he have time? Did that not work? Did the albums not take 4 years to make? But no.
Nah. Do you ever do that where you like leave a bit of time before you listen to an album after it comes out? Like what you saying, how you only caught on to favourite worst nightmare. Do you ever deliberately leave a bit of time?
I think I'm doing it right now with the Stormzy album.
Have you not listened to it yet?
I'll obviously listen to the singles. I like Stormzy a lot. We've seen him at Transmit last year. It was amazing. But I've yet to listen to the big album. But it's not. I don't think it's deliberate. It's just time. Trying to find time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I've not listened to Foal's second album from this last year yet.
Yeah.
Quite deliberately, because I don't want to, because I'm still quite happy with the first one at the minute, and there probably won't be another Foal's album for
another while.
3. So other than the first single that came out, I've heard nothing off it. But
It's good. I mean, definitely this endless debate with my other half about what is better. She prefers second. I'm adamant that the first part is better, but both great albums.
Yeah. Are they? They're playing. They're a bit of a weird one to be in the Transmit lineup next year, actually.
Yes,
they're a little
they
bit
are.
out of place. Like compared to kind of what they're going for now a bit more. Did you do Transmit first year?
We did it the first year. Yeah, that was a good time. Like
Yeah, I was. What did you? Was it King Tut stage you did? Or?
King Tut stage, we were second on just after Watto and just before P Charlotte. At the same time as Everything, which I was a bit gutted about.
You missed them.
I missed them. Oh, one of my favourite bands. But yeah, as I said, that was great. That was a great gig.
Was it the same as a Tut stage? Always been in like the same
area?
Same area, yeah.
I think it's slightly bigger now.
But I mean, the lineup they had in it last year was pretty mental. Like some of the bands.
Who was on it again?
Fontaines did it in. Oh, this is where all the names escape me. Actually, you ever heard this band Wen Young? It's not one of the bigger ones, but they're really good. And they were on it.
I like Wen Young. Cool band.
And you said like Retro and Dunce and all this band. I think the Hunna headlined it though, didn't they?
The Hunna did headline it, I believe.
It's quite a big band that on your King Tut stage.
I suppose so, yeah.
But I missed quite I never got to experience the tea break stage. Tea in the Park.
Jesus Christ, the tea break stage. That was the worst gig we've ever played. That was the worst gig we've ever played. It was hilarious.
Why?
It was because of equipment breaking down. So the way we run our set is like we need some like click tracks and for like keyboards that would literally 8 arms aren't enough to play. And essentially what had happened is we changed out the interface that we use for one that could fit in like a flight case that was a bit more safe.
Yeah.
And then it just did not work. So what's going to happen is like a feed going out the front, there's a feed going to Duncan for his click, and then there's a MIDI going out to me and Mary's guitar pedals, and then it's just started off, it completely crashed. We brought out the spare one really quickly, and then it worked out that Duncan didn't have his click, he had the front of house thing, so he was just going off basically thin air. Our MIDI stopped working, we panicked a wee bit. Mary started singing Wuthering Heights. It was that.
The Kate Bush song.
Yeah, Kate Bush, yeah. And you know what? Seeing hindsight, it was fine. It was fine, but we literally thought the world had ended.
I guess at the time.
And then Tina Park ended like that year. So.
Aye, because that was unexpected as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't. Did you know it was the last year when you played it?
No one knew, as far as I know.
It's sad to think.
I know. Well, what a shame. Like, I yearn for Bellado.
Yeah, I never went.
Oh, it was great.
Did you used to go kind of grown up and stuff? And
I only went twice. I only went in 2013 and the year we played 2016. 2013 was like the really hot year with like the dust clouds and fucking brilliant. So good.
Did you get a free pass for the whole weekend when you went in 2016? Or were you just there for the day that you were kind of...
We played on the Saturday, so we arrived on the Saturday and we left on the Monday morning. I think we just blagged it. Maybe, I don't know.
No. Just didn't leave the site.
We got past it. If anyone from DF is listening, we were there completely fine, above board. It's fine.
Right, we need to... Because you have an album out.
Yes.
It's just something we need to have a bit of a chat about.
Okay.
I read that it started in 2012, the recordings for that.
Demos did. So,
what kind of was blossoming back then, beginning?
Well, I was doing my hires. I was bored of doing my hires. So I was just doing demos on my computer and saying I was studying. And I mean, the first thing to come out of it was The Knife, the riff for that, and it was like this weird like French house tune at the time. It didn't have any lyrics, but it had like the top line, the melody, and the chords, and like the back of it sounded like Jupiter a wee bit. Like, yeah, that's essentially that's the furthest back bit. I mean, the next bit is the next kind of point in that is like 2014 when we'd actually formed. Yeah. And Days Go By was written for the first time.
So did you not form in 2012 when you first wrote the part for The Knife?
Well, we were still in we were in different bands at that point. So I was still in a band with Duncan called Crown of Storms, and that was a 2-piece dubstep band.
It's a good name for a band, actually.
Oh, it's a fantastic name for a band. But they'll be back at some point. We were doing, it was essentially the Royal Blood thing before Royal Blood was even a band.
Kind of what's the other band, the American one?
Death from Above.
No, Black Keys.
Black Keys, yeah, but except it was like proper like kind of like Lightning Bolt a wee bit. That was like a big thing, and then I was just doing random demos just of like anything I liked. And Matthew was in the band Heterodox, which was another dubstep band. I will say they were the heaviest band I've ever heard in my life. We went on the Hit the Road tour with them like in 2012, and they were great. They were in class. And then me and Duncan were in another band with Mary doing this called The Creators, which was great. It was a wee indie band. Yeah. And then was
it quite different to what you're doing?
Yeah, I think it was all quite different. Like, I mean, that was. Yeah, I mean, it was all being young and that. Some good tunes though. Mary's the songs Mary wrote for that were incredible. Like, if I remember correctly, they were fantastic. Like back in the day.
I think the song I first heard of yours was "Shake It."
Oh yeah.
When did you? That's a song. Actually, what are the 3 things I've got written down here? I've got written "Sit vocal melodies, killer guitars, and infectious hooks." Yeah. And that's basically your kind of whole catalogue, kind of summarised as well.
Pretty much. Yeah.
When did you figure out that like the way that your kind of vocals like complemented each other and worked? Because that must have been quite a moment. That must have been a moment where you kind of realised we've got something here, maybe a wee bit. Or...
Well, the way it started, it was just me playing a bunch of keyboards, like, and doing some random gigs and all that, and then I was just like, oh, I'm bored. I don't like being by myself.
Because you did it. Was the Vegan Leather like a solo moniker before?
Yeah, it was just because I had a bunch of keyboards and I just wanted to like go up and essentially just play like sleazies and broadcast and just go like and just do stuff like that. And then I was like, I'm actually writing some actual songs. It'd be good if we had a band. So I was like, Duncan, Matt, come on, let's do it. We did a couple of gigs for about a year for the 3 of us, and then I had the song "The Live Days Go By," the original one, and I was just like, I want Mary to sing on this. Yeah. And I was like, Mary, can you come sing on this, please? She's like, aye, fine, whatever. Like, and then we did that, played the song out. We played it like as a 3-piece a little bit with like Mary being on the backing track and that. Oh, what you do when you're 19, Jesus. and then we're like, Mary, just be in the band. And we're like, cool. And then we just started writing songs just based on that. Yeah, it was because me and Mary, we'd been in bands, but we'd never actually sung together. Yeah. So we just worked out, it's like, well, Mary, you can actually sing, I can't. And it just worked from there, and you just refine it as you go along, I think.
Do you write with each other now as well?
Yeah. We write with each other like a lot.
How does that compare to writing on your own?
Oh, so much better. Yeah. So much better. Like, I think it gives focus to like a session to say, like, if I'm by myself, I'll like work on something for half an hour, make 8 bars that sound really good, and I'll get bored and move on to something else. Whereas like Mary's like, alright, that's cool. Or we'll go through those and we're like, oh, that's good, let's focus on that and expand this, and then write lyrics and blah blah blah. So definitely a lot more focused when writing with Mary.
Do you have to go to a place to write? Do you have to...
My bedroom. Like, literally, we've just got a big speaker set up and a bunch of mics and everything you would ever want.
Is it kind of like a wee home studio type thing? Yeah. So do all the songs like start off on a computer? Or?
Yeah. So we'll just do that, and then we'll come to like, we'll bring Matt in, he'll do his thing, he'll write his bass lines, and then we'll get Duncan, like, we'll just jam it with Duncan, and like, Duncan just... We'll literally just say we'll write it, and we'll just say to Matt and Duncan, like, just do what you want here, guys. We'll know you'll be good. We'll know it'll sound good. So
you need trust in a band, though. So it's quite good that you.
Yeah, of course. And everyone's good at what they do. So we've never felt bad about just saying,
just do what you do.
Matt, do what you want. And I think recording with Paul Savage definitely helped that a wee bit. It helped open up a wee bit and just be like,
yeah. Was it 19 Chem? Is that the name? of
Chem 19.
Chem 19.
Yeah,
So close.
It's close, man. It's close.
But he's worked on. He was doing that whole kind of 90s Scottish scene, didn't he?
Yeah. So it's like with like Mogwai and Cara Obscura. He was in the Delgados as well. Like he's a great guy. He's class.
When did you first get involved with? Like when did you kind of the discussion start that we were going to do the album with him?
We'd had the songs ready. We had about 20 tunes ready, and we were just talking amongst the four of us. It's like, right, we want to go to the studio and record this. We've got a budget. We want to go into an actual studio and focus on it. Just because we've got the luxury right now, we won't have that luxury in the future probably. So, and we're just like, Chem 19 was always the option. There was like talk about maybe going elsewhere, but they were like, it's close now. Chem 19 was and we're like that, and then we just like emailed up Emma Pollock and it was like, hey, we want to come record here. Can we? And they're like, yeah, sure, come and we'll talk and all that, we'll get a plan. And then it was just, went in.
Where about is the studio? It's in Glasgow, is it?
It's in Blantyre, so it's like down the M74, off at the Wraith interchange, go up I forget the road, and then come off at Blantyre. So it's about 40 minutes from my house.
That's alright.
Not too bad. Easy days.
How long were you in there for? When you were in the
So it was kind of like 3 weeks at a time, and then with like 3 weeks off, and 3 weeks back on, and 3 weeks off, and then like 3 weeks on, and then like maybe a month and a bit off, and then like that.
So were you having to like book time off work and stuff to go in and?
Yeah.
How did you?
Yeah. So I mean, because I work kind of flex time, so I go to work in the night times when we would finish, because we'd finish at 6 o'clock every day.
So you would be in the studio all day.
Yeah.
And then go out and work at night.
Aye.
Were you sleeping, or how did you?
You sleep when you come home. Like, you sleep fine. Like, there's always plenty of time in the day.
Yeah.
Anyone says there's not enough hours in the day is wrong. There's plenty of hours in the day. But yeah, I mean, like, so I was there every day, but then maybe like some people would only come in some days, some people would come in other days, but we would just focus on who was doing what, and then we were mixing. We tried our best, all four of us, to be there. I think I only missed 3 hours one day, and it was coming back up from the Cure in London.
That's a pretty good excuse for.
Not on my watch.
So you only missed 3 hours out of all the.
Oh, maybe it was more 5 hours. I don't know. Like,
that's impressive that you were there for the whole. What did you put down first?
The first thing we did was drums and bass all together. Duncan and Matt did 15 songs in 2.5 days. Like
15 songs in 2.5 days.
Yeah, just in the same room looking at each other. It was brilliant.
That's crazy.
It was great. Like, and then me and Maya were like, this is good. That's going to take no time. And then it was like, it's 4 months have passed. Just 2 more weeks. 6 months have passed. Just another 2 weeks. And then we're like, right, we need to stop this now. It's gone too far. Yeah. we need to mix this now.
I read as well, I think it was Mary did an interview and she said that like she was speaking about the influences for the album, and she said that the drum sounds on it were really influenced by like David Bowie's Low.
Yeah.
How does that work? Do you like listen to David Bowie's Low and you're like, I like the drum sounds on that, and when something like that, are you consciously always listening for that and looking for things that you like and that you want? Or
100%. That's like totally. I think we'll base like songs, like full songs around like a sound or something like that. I suppose when it came to that particular thing what Matt's talking about, that and Shaka Khan, that was Paul Savage's shout, because he has like this effects unit that they used on both those records to put like the snares and the kicks through, and he was like, here, get that on there, what do you think of this? And we're like, that's class, brilliant, do that, Paul. Yeah.
Is that your favourite Bowie album? Or
favourite Bowie album? Gosh, what's my favourite Bowie album?
You've got to be careful what you say here.
You know, the more I think about it, and the more I like Black Star.
It's a good album.
I like it because Matt did the start to end things a few times when they played Black Star in full, and I listened to it a lot just by like going to see him play. But maybe Hunky Dory.
Yeah,
I like Hunky Dory.
They're both quite different albums, though.
Yeah,
Black Star, I think, just because what happened, obviously, in the days following it, he basically made an album about his death.
Yeah, that was a spooky time. That was really spooky.
He had it all planned out. He
knew.
He knew what was.
He absolutely knew what was happening to him. He knew when it was going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'd say Hunky Dory. I like Changes. That's on the album.
That's a happy song. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what good. Shrek.
I like you're listening to Station to Station.
Yeah, I do like Station to Station to Station. Yeah.
Was it one of the Berlin trilogy that Low was part of as well?
Maybe.
What was there was 3. It was Low.
Hey Siri. Oh. Was Station to Station part of the Berlin trilogy?
One moment. I don't know who the band members are for Berlin.
Right, whatever. Right, let's just say yes.
We'll take it back to your music rather, because started off on. I keep going on tangents. Started off on Shake It.
Yeah.
Because you also did you write the music video for that as well as the band?
Yeah. So I mean, we all kind of chipped in on that because we went to the Park studio, and we just got a bunch of pink sheets, put them up the wall, and just recorded a bunch of just things with camera in Brisbane, and then another thing. It was like, 2 months have passed, it'll be ready in 2 weeks. And then the video, we were not organised with that. It came out a lot later, and then we just edited together a bunch of things.
I like that video though.
It's good.
It's trippy as well, like when the things start happening, like different layers and things like that.
See, I had a really bad computer at the time, and it took me like 2 days to get all the psychedelic, because we wanted to just be really weird and psychedelic, but we just got around and said, that looks weird, put that in, that's cool, whatever. Like, yeah.
Because you did like the animation and stuff for quite a few other ones as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did the hit. Did you do that yourself as well?
I did that with Eric and Casper from Humble Film Studios. So they did a lot of the filming, and then a lot of the kind of effects on me and Mary ourselves. So they did a lot of that, whereas I did a lot of the animations, so the background animations and the little lightning bolts coming out of Matthew's hands.
So do you do animation quite a lot?
A little bit. I mean, I did the heavy-handed video.
Yeah, that's cool as well. That's another trippy one.
That was trippy. It was good, but it was like a solid 14-hour day. Because once again, it was all deadlines.
Yeah.
And we're like, well.
Especially when you try to push the record at that point and you need stuff out to keep the momentum going and things like that.
And you're like, this thing goes out on Monday, or it's out on Friday maybe, or Monday, or whatever. And it's like, but this video needs to be out that day as well. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, so you just clear everything and you just go and just try and make things. Yeah.
Was that one of the toughest things with the record, like having to get all the promo and having to continually push it and stuff? Because it must have been a pretty intense couple of months. It's
intense, but I think we were very organised at the start, and that made things a lot easier.
Yeah, kind of laid down the groundwork, and then
that made everything that came afterwards definitely a lot easier than what we've done in the past. And even now, going forward, we will learn from things we should have done.
Yeah, for the next one.
Yeah, for the next album. And the next one after that, and the next one after that. Maybe.
What sort of stuff did you lay down for the groundwork when you're speaking about that?
So it was essentially just like timelines.
Yeah. What when you wanted stuff out and
yeah.
Yeah.
So like you work with a team, and it's like once everyone has like a timeline, you're just like, right, we'll do this then. We'll do this after that's done by that. We have to shoot this video by then. We have to get this artwork ready by then. Then it's like, we need to think of something cool. We need to go get pictures taken of us because we don't like getting pictures taken of us, which is hard. It's hard.
When did you do the cover shoot?
We did that. That was the first thing we did. We did that before the album was even mastered. So that was we did it with our pal Bovine, and that was originally just going to be a bunch of promo shots just to help the first single and all that. And then he did this one shot of us all at this table, and it's like, Bovine, you're onto something. That's the album artwork. Like, we'll go with that.
Where did you get the little skull glasses as well? Because they're so cool.
That's from Pilonatini. When we supported Pilonatini a couple of years ago, he bought us a bottle of Cristal, and that's just that.
I didn't actually realise where did you support? Was that at Hogmanay?
Yeah. So he bought us on the first night. He bought us that Cristal vodka.
Good. Not bad.
Oh, it was the second night actually, but yeah. So I just had it sitting around. It was like, let's fill it with water and paint. Look fine. And that album cover is actually 2 pictures put together.
Is it?
Yeah, the table was tiny. Like, the table was so small.
So you photoshopped and stretched out.
You can only. I mean, the table was literally like about a metre. Me and Mary had to be really close to each other.
Wait, so is it you and Mary are a separate photo from Duncan and...
Yeah. Duncan and Matt.
Matt.
Yeah. And then both I just stitched them together and then made the table look like really long.
I like it, it's cool. Have you always been like so passionate about the band's like almost aesthetic is the word, you know, the visual aesthetic of it? Because seemingly you've got such a hand in all the videos and like the album artwork, and it's kind of got a bit of a almost like a DIY kind of feel to them as well, some of them, like the videos.
Yeah.
Like quite kind of lo-fi sometimes.
I like that though, I think, because we I mean, the biggest budget video we did was with Eric and Casper, and that was great. And I feel like we both brought our styles to that, definitely. I mean, like, because their videos look incredible, they are amazing. And then
did they do the French Exit one as well?
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, the massive. Yeah,
they did the French Exit one, and that was great. But I mean, at the
such a cool video.
At the centre of it is like an IKEA wardrobe. You know what I mean?
What when the guy goes into the thing?
Yeah. That's like, we had to get this door, and we're like, oh, can I get a door anywhere that stands up by itself? It's like, Eric, let's just go buy a wardrobe. It's fine. Like, and
it's so well edited together as well.
Oh, that's Eric and Casper, man. Yeah. They're the best.
I didn't actually notice Alan was in that video until I was rewatching it for this, and then
he's really good at roller skating.
Was he roller skating in that?
He's really good at it. Like, we had Firewater to ourselves. Alan from Pleasureheads, by the way, shout out. We had Firewater to ourselves, like, for like the main building for like Sunday morning. We were in there at like 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning shooting those roller skate scenes, and then we moved into the Casbah for like the nighttime stuff and all that.
You weren't on the roller skates, were you?
Oh, nah.
I thought, because I remember Mary's on them, isn't she?
Mary isn't actually on them. Like, she's just standing in the middle of
stunt double.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, it was Alan and Leah Ritchie, I believe, who were roller skating. Both really good roller skaters.
Would have expected that from him. Man of many talents.
Very, very good. Very good. But what you were saying about the style, I mean, we've always
sorry, the visual style.
Sorry, we've always thought about that. It always has to be, because it used to be when we first started. It was like, choose a colour and everyone dressed completely in that colour or else.
What colour did you pick?
Well, it was red first. Well, it was per gig though.
I remember those promo shots actually.
Yeah,
you were all in red. Yeah.
Alex got to them, and it was like red, the green ones, the purple. Then it was like we went to do the EP.
So you ran out of colours.
Yeah, went to the EP and we asked Kate Miller. I was like, Kate, choose a colour for us, and she went, this colour of pink, and we're like, cool. And we just went for that from now on.
Yeah, that's stuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that EP was The Knife, and there's another one on that as well, wasn't there?
The Knife, This House, Bottom of the Ocean, Days Go By, and Your House.
How did the Days Go By and The Knife compare to what's on the album?
Oh, so different.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I mean, I listen back to them now, like, on my iTunes. And
because we can't, they're gone. We can never get hold of them again.
They belong to me. Maybe we'll be out one other thing, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, those were completely done in my house. Like, everything, all the drums, everything was done in the gaff. And I just like them both. Like, I like the full studio versions, and I like the home ones as well, because there's just different things that happen in each of them.
I guess as well because you attached like your own kind of memories and like a time to that, and it probably reminds you of that as well.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
it must be weird listening back to stuff that you've done, not just the demos but like the songs, like what they were kind of written about now. Like, is it weird hearing back? Or?
I think so. I mean, I never really write about events. More about me and Mary, we don't really tend to write about like, oh, this thing happened to us one time. We tend to more write about like maybe how we felt at a time, as opposed to like a thing that happened and connect it, but more like the feelings and maybe a kind of broader scope of that, how that feeling maybe evolves over a certain.
Do you always know what you're writing about?
Yeah, we'll go in and we'll just say like, right, here's the instrumental, more or less. What we're writing about today, Mary says, oh, we'll write about this, and then we'll write about that. And we'll just stick to that theme, because I do think that like keeping like thematically coherent is definitely important.
Yeah,
makes a good song, especially when you've got me just trying to put like weird things that don't make sense in the words.
I think as well with the album, the thing is that each of the songs, although they're kind of sonically linked, sound very individual and different, and part of that probably is because of what you're saying there. they're all written about very different things.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my Man Dies is probably my favourite
Man
song
Dies.
on the album. How do you come up with a line like that for a pop song? Like, to have that kind of run into the centre of it, but it'd still be a pop song.
Well, it's patter, isn't it? It's like, it was Chris Ballantyne coined the phrase "man dies," and then I just thought that was really funny. So, like, we all thought it was dead funny, and I thought, you know what, that rolls off the tongue. That absolutely rolls off the tongue. Let's write a song about it, and then, yeah.
Are you always listening out for stuff like that?
Always,
Digging?
always, absolutely.
Have you got notebooks and stuff that you note down?
I take notes of interesting things I hear people say, like interesting ways people say things as well, or like little short phrases. You're like, that could definitely be a hook.
So that's interesting. So you're almost looking out for like the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
Every day.
Also looking out for like how repeatable is it if someone says something like interesting and the other person repeats it, and then, I don't know, say if you're out at a festival or something like that, and then obviously a lot of time if you're there for like 5 days and someone just says something and that catches on as the patter of the weekend, you're like, why is that the patter of the weekend? Why is everyone saying that? Because it's funny, but also there must be memorable. There must be something else. There must be something rhythmic there. There must be something almost lyrical to it.
Yeah, the process in the studio with Paul.
Yeah.
What was that kind of? What was his kind of philosophy, and what was that kind of like?
So he did leave us to our own devices quite a bit, but when he definitely did give us a good amount of guidance, like when and where we needed it. So I mean, when we started, as I said, we went in and drums and bass, got all that done, and then we just got a big whiteboard out and just clicked off one by one, guitar this track, guitar that, vocals, blah blah, synths. We didn't really focus too much on synths at the start at all. That's why the kind of album sounds as guitar-y as it does.
Yeah. Because
we were like, it made more sense to do synths in our own time as opposed to like kind of waste studio time, because we felt like when you're in the studio, that's when guitars need to get done, that's when vocals need to get done, bass needs to get done, drums need to get done there. Whereas synthesizers, you could go home at night with a mix and bring synths in and just put them over the track, and you know it works because you've done it at home already, and then you've saved
a lot of studio time.
Still a lot of studio time.
Time is money. Yeah.
Time is money. Like, although once we were like satisfied with the tracking and all that, we went in and we did the mix. So we did like one song a day, and during the time Paul was mixing, we would go and do extra stuff in the live room. So I brought my full studio set up. He would mix. We would do like 3 hours to 4 hours. We'd have his first mix from the start of the day. We'd add keyboards, hand claps, extra vocals, loads of extra stupid things, and then we'd bring them back halfway through, get an update on the mix, go do that a second time, and then end of the day, bring it all together in the mix, and then that was that. But the way the studio works, it's like, it's basically all analog, all the effects and stuff, so there is recall, but it would take a long time to get a session recalled back up if you wanted to make any changes, so you had to be dead cert on the day that was it.
Yeah.
That we were done. So, and it was quite freeing actually. You know, like, that's done. Well, maybe there's a bit you go back and listen to it. It's like, oh,
tweak it a wee bit.
You tweak it, but then it's just like, nah, man, that's it. That's what it's meant to sound like. If it ended up like that, that's what it's meant to sound like. But if there was a big, glaring thing, we would go back and redo it.
Yeah.
Such as like.
Was there anything like that you had to go back and?
There was two things. There was part of my pronunciation on a few words in Unorthodox, which is a bit too over the top for certain bits, which is understandable, so we went and did that again. And also we had to change quite a lot of lyrics in Holy Ghost.
How come? just wasn't working?
No, I mean that, and yeah, they weren't working.
Yeah.
So we had to go back and redo all the vocals in there. And then once we did that, we'd realise some of the old vocals were overlapping in double tracks with that, and it was like it was fine.
Was Holy Ghost the new one, or had you had that one before?
Holy Ghost was written in, I believe, 2016, early 2017, 2016.
You played Tea in the Park.
It was after that.
It
was in the winter. I remember being out in Edinburgh for the day on a Monday for some reason, and then coming back like at 5. And I was like, Mary, come write this song. I'm like, okay. So then I had this at the same time. We had the loop, and then I was like, okay, I'll write lyrics. And I was like, okay, you write the lyrics, I'll just structure this out. And then we went and did that, had a tune, realised, got to one point, got to like 10 at night, and we're like, oh, we can't make a noise anymore, but we've got the lyrics now. I was like, right, we'll just go to a car park somewhere, and we'll bring like a small interface, and we'll just record. That was like, in the backseat of your car. You know, that's essentially, we're missing a few lyrics, like, well, where are we right now? Ha ha ha. Fine. Like, but it's, yeah.
Do you find all the songs have quite a different... Does every song on that album have a story behind it? Like, in that sense? The same way that you're speaking about there, the way that was recorded and the way you came up with that? Yeah. Does it all have quite a unique, different place that it comes from? I
suppose, like... I mean, if you asked any tune, I could tell you like when and where, but I think Holy Ghost is definitely the most interesting.
Was this the first time as well that you had gone into a studio for quite a long stretch of time?
Yeah.
What, had it just been singles in for a couple of days before? Or?
Yeah, so just been singles. So I mean, how we'd even worked in the past is we would record everything in the gaff, and we'd go to Lewis Andrew in Park Lane, and we'd spend a day mixing it. And you're like,
because did you self-produce I Take American as well?
Yeah, and it was interesting with that one. Actually, that was tracked in Chem 19 as part of the year, I think maybe 2017 actually, that they had their sound lab thing, and we were basically guinea pigs
testing it out
for the students who were working there. And so we went away with the stems, we brought them to Lewis, and then we went from there on that one. Yeah. So yeah.
Did you find you got into a routine as well with the album each day, the way that you were kind of working, or is it different?
Definitely in the mixing days 100%, because it was time limits, and we worked really well to that. I suppose when it was the actual tracking, it was like, right, maybe not so much a routine, but just what needed to get done, what had to be done.
Yeah, well, like basically what you said, that you had it very planned out, and it was quite regimented, and right, we're going to lay down the bass and the drums, then we're going to do this, and then...
Well, I think so, but when we went into actually guitars and stuff, it was a little bit more free-flowing, because we had the boards and all that what had to be done, and then we just decided, what do we feel good about today? Do we feel good about our vocals today? Are our throats not sore? Like, and if they are sore, we'll do some guitars then, and we'll do that. And it's like, how many songs? Oh, we've only got 4 songs left. Like, that's fine, we'll just do that.
Yeah. Did you just go through it song by song when you were...
Pretty much, yeah. But maybe like I would do guitars for like 3 different songs, and then Maddie would jump and do 3 guitars for 3 different songs.
Do it in blocks.
Yeah, do it in blocks, and then we might, let's end the day with vocals, just so we're not completely in guitar world all day. You know, I think.
How do you keep on your game when you're in the studio for that length of time?
Coffee. And you just need to keep... Well, it's so easy just to like...
You obviously can't go into autopilot or...
Well, I mean, it's easy when like someone, say if like someone's in doing a take like for 3 tracks, and it's so easy to just like slip into your laptop and just do some things, but you just need to like listen, because everyone's part is as important as each other. Everyone was up for every little thing was up for comment from the 4 of us. Like if someone was doing a take, everyone else would be like, well, we need to listen, does that work, is that doing fine? But I mean, that's where it came, like, that you are trusting the parts that they've written, but it's more now it's the performance, so everyone's critiquing each other's performance, not a bad way, but
you have to be honest with each other.
You have to be honest.
It's a debut album, you only get one debut album.
Exactly, because you know, if it sounds shit, it sounds shit. You're not afraid to tell someone, it's like, oh, that was crap, Jan. Don't sing it that way. You know, but that's like...
It's the same way you said earlier, like it builds on the trust, like how you're saying that you can just trust the other 2 to go away and do the bass and drums for it and come up with it. You need that in the band.
Exactly, and the thing is, like, I'd rather someone told me what I was doing was shit then, so you can make it good, because otherwise you're just kidding yourself.
Do you feel like you've got quite a good judgment of what's good and what's not? Or how do you kind of maintain a sense of perspective when you've been that absorbed in an album and working on it?
but I think by taking time away from it, definitely. Like, as I said, we went in for maybe like 2 to 3 weeks at a time on 5 days a week, but then we were away for a month, and so during that time, I refused to listen to anything that we'd done, because you could spend that entire month away just listening to the same things over and over again. Obviously, I listen to them sometimes to go back, but if you come back in with fresh ears and you're just like, oh, well, that doesn't work anymore, or there should be more of that.
How long do you need to take away to get that?
I mean, any amount of time, as long as you just don't interact with it.
Yeah.
And then you come back in without thinking that everything you do is the best it's going to be, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there must be a sense of kind of adrenaline and when you're in the studio and you're kind of pumped up and excited because you're recording your debut album, that must affect it. And way when you're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must be weird as well though, listening back, like with the fresh ears.
Yeah.
Did it sound quite different when you came back to it?
It definitely sounded quite different. I always thought it sounded a bit better when I came back to it. Like, just because I was like, I'd listen to like the 12 songs over and over and over again. Once we got the masters in, I listened to it like for 3 weeks non-stop, and I was like, at the end I was like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's terrible. I didn't listen to it for like until it came out. I was like, aye, that's fine.
It's actually pretty good.
It's alright. It does the job.
Did you record 15 songs though? 15 songs.
15 songs were recorded.
And then 11 are on the...
11 are on the album.
What happened to where are the other 4? Are they gonna make an appearance?
They probably will make an appearance at some point. It was just like, I feel that we ran out of time. On one song in particular, we definitely ran out of time, which was a shame.
You'd want to do it properly then, as opposed to just finding the version that you've...
Yeah, because it was a big song for us, and we wanted to do it justice, but we just ran out of money, essentially. Yeah. But we ran out of time, and we were just like, I remember it was the last Friday before we left for Christmas, in 2018.
Yeah.
And we had like 1 or 2 mixing days, solely mixing days afterwards, like in the middle of January. But they were like, that needs to be for the final, just to make sure everything is done. And it was like, we can't spend another day on this one.
You just don't have the time.
We don't have the time. It's going to be a detriment.
But you're over budget, yeah.
Well, over budget, and it'll be at the detriment of other tunes. You know.
I guess it's hard, but you do have to think about it as the broader picture. And
you always got to, you know, like.
But then again, you hear about these bands that, you know, write a song and then don't release it, or it doesn't come out on an album until like four albums down, because they go back to it and revisit it. Yeah. In the long run, it could end up being a better song if you go back and do it like in 2 years or whatever.
But like, perspective on that is always better for songs. Yeah. I mean, my personal opinion, especially that's with Days Go By, the original one, and the new one is so much better. The new one.
What's different about it? Does it still have the hookiness in the first one, or?
Yeah, the first one only has one verse, and it says like there's like a minute of just at the start before any singing happens. But you know, that's charming in its own way, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I all we want to do is, the album's such a big undertaking. Yeah, really, that I feel like we got a bit of cabin fever at certain points. We kind of missed it. It's like when you were just putting out singles, you didn't have to worry about this big picture. You were just like, single, next single, next single, and it was like, obviously we did that for a while, but we kind of missed that a bit now. So I think we'll go into that for a little bit.
It must be nice to have the album with this completed piece of work that.
You know what? It's for us. It's done exactly what we wanted it to do. We wanted it to be as a starting platform for us. So it's like, we never saw it as this sort of victory lap sort of deal. It's more as if like, right, here's the tunes from our first 5 years. Yeah. Cleaned up and put together. Now let's move on. If that makes sense. And I know it sounds a bit harsh.
I know what it's almost like a celebration of what you've been as a band so far. Yeah,
but it is a celebration, but it's like, in our minds we spent so long with these songs, and then we're starting to write new ones, and we're just in love with them, and it's just like, right, that's cool, the album's there, we've got that's there, we can people can listen to it, we can all listen to it, we can tour it and all that, but now let's hurry up and let's get on with the new music, because time does not stand still.
I think as well today, with the way that Spotify is now, you can't stop putting out music. You can't take a couple of years off as a band.
Oh, absolutely not.
You've got a couple of years back. You're like
you got one like 1 week cycles now. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Which
I think it's a thing as well. Someone was saying that like Spotify, certain algorithms and stuff are looking for bands that are putting out a tune once every 6 weeks or once every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And they want bands that are consistently putting stuff out.
And see, to be honest, like that's a good way to go about it in this kind of modern age, because we could have done that. We could have put out a tune every 6 weeks with all the tunes from the album. You know what I mean? So, but then that wouldn't be an album though. Yeah. Like that would, if we put it out, that'd be a compilation. But you know what I mean? I think it's definitely doable for bands now, especially with like
to put something out every 6. I guess it's money. That's the thing that kind of comes up as
yes,
it's expensive to go in and record and produce.
Absolutely, but it depends whether you take things into your own hands or not.
Well, I suppose you guys are all still. It still all begins life like in your kind of home studio, doesn't it?
Yeah. So and I love it when people make their own home studios. I think it's brilliant. I love. Sometimes I think that home demo recordings of tunes that people have shown me before they went into like a bigger studio. Sometimes I think they're better. Like they're more idiosyncratic.
You can go too far with stuff as well. That must be. Was there anything on the album actually that you kind of kept pushing in a certain direction and kind of had to pull it back a bit and be like, nah, it's a bit too much? Or
I think maybe there definitely was a few things because I'm just like sitting there in the mixing days. I was like, oh, I've got this thing, guys, come listen to this. And I was like, no, like just like, Jan, this was terrible. Like, take that away. Like, that's bad. Like, that's why it's good to like have people around you.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine being a solo artist actually.
It'd be rubbish. It'd be terrible. Yeah. Who are you going to talk to when you go on tour?
I guess you've got session musicians and stuff like that you can.
But they cost money.
I know. Do you like being in the studio? Do you enjoy being in there for that kind of concrete base of time? Or? I
do, yeah. Because the studio sessions on the whole are genuinely hilarious.
There's a lot. Is it a bit like being on tour?
Yeah, but the difference is you can lie down in
you can go home to your bed at night and get a cup of tea.
Yeah, you can absolutely, and you don't have to sit in the one place for 8 hours in a van. So, but yeah, it's all camaraderie and all that.
I love the atmosphere of a studio though, just the vibe when you go in there.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's amazing when you go in, like good studios will have that consistent vibe. Like Chem has a consistent vibe. Right now we're in 7 West Studios.
It's got that vibe.
It's always got a good vibe in here.
Especially when you go into like what's the room next to the recording room, and you've got all the vinyls and t-shirts and stuff up.
The control room. Yeah. It's always a good time. Always a good time in there. Like,
who mastered your album?
Robin Schmidt from 2496 Mastering in Germany.
How do you pick who masters? That's something I've actually always wanted to ask about, and it's the first time I've asked it. How do you pick who masters an album?
I looked at the back of the last 1975 album, saw who mastered it, emailed them, got a quote and did it. but there was more of that. Like we'd all went through like our favourite albums and all that, and we went through a list of who mastered each of our favourite albums, and we thought, right, is that gonna suit us? We looked at a lot of like Block Party albums and a lot of like.
I've never actually thought of you and Block Party before, but now as soon as you said that, just hear the guitarist from them, and that's all just clicked into place.
So Nick, we were like, what will we sound like? Because we want to sound like 2007, because loaded doing. But yeah, it was just we went through all our favourite albums, looked who mastered it. Most of the time we found out that most of our favourite albums have been mastered by the same person, and we're like, wow. And then we listened to them next, those actually sound the same.
So can you hear that in the music now that when you go back and listen to it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it does sound a bit similar to. He's got a style though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where we went, because we felt it was the most natural, because we recorded our album at 96 kilohertz, which is completely unnecessary and unheard of, and it was an absolute pain really towards the end when trying to. You couldn't add any more tracks because the computer was about to crash. And I don't know, we knew 96 kilohertz is on his name as well, so it was good. But yeah, we went through, and then we just put up the quotes, got the quotes and that, blah blah, and yeah, we went with Robin. How
Masters an interesting one to me, because what actually is that doing to your music as someone who doesn't make music?
So
what is that adding to it? Because obviously, it feels like you'll work with a good producer, but it seems like you can send your music off to have it mastered by, people get their stuff mastered at Abbey Road for...
Yeah. So essentially what the act of mastering is a dark art. And if anyone listening knows about it more than me, comment and subscribe in the box below. I don't know.
Leave us a nice review if you're listening.
Nice review. It's essentially like, so say you go do your mix and you got everything, and it generally might be a bit quieter. So mastering is essentially getting frequencies that the mix engineer might not be able to particularly spot in the mix, that may be a bit harsh, so a bit of things, but just because of the room that they're in. So like not all rooms are like rooms that are made for mastering are like really tailor made, so you can hear frequencies really that. So they'll just like smooth that out, and essentially if the song's quiet, they'll maybe make it louder, maybe like make it breathe more. It's it's a weird thing. It's like it's basically polishing.
Yeah, it's almost like making it HD.
Yeah, or it's more refining even. So it gets it ready.
Just
so
getting rid of all the cracks and all the...
Yeah, so if there's like, maybe there's like, you can't hear because the size of the room dictates that you can't hear a specific frequency, and like sometimes a voice does something and it quite harsh at points, the master engineer can go in and they can like just soften that, just to make it so it'll be different when you hear it in a car, or like you hear that.
It's weird how music sounds in a car actually compared to...
Yeah.
What was I listening to in the car the other day? But it was just, I think it was Jaws actually.
Yeah.
Was it like Jaws? Yeah.
Never really listened to Jaws.
Nah. It was their last album. I heard it in a car the other day for the first time. It sounded completely different.
What should I listen to by Jaws?
Jaws, last album. It's fucking mental.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I don't...
Well, I'll blast it on in the car when I go home. Like...
Every song's different on it.
Yeah.
Almost. I'm trying to think. It's kind of your indie rock, but...
Love to see it, man. Love to see it. I'll get that banged on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Do you think your album overall is an optimistic or a pessimistic record?
There's a lot of dark thoughts in the album. Like, I don't necessarily know if it... I think it probably leans towards the optimistic.
Yeah.
I say that just because of the last line in the last song. It's like, you got this, buddy. But, like, there's a lot of dark thoughts in it. A lot of dark things. And I think it just depends on whether you feel like talking about it as an optimistic or a pessimistic thing. It may be neither. It could be just a therapeutic thing. I think that's for us anyway. Like writing about these started, it was definitely therapeutic.
You getting that out.
Yeah,
helps. Yeah.
So I think we really just saw it as a bit of therapy, really, as opposed to whatever came out.
Do you find music as therapy? Do you think it?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Is that one of the things that hooked you in to start with when you first started getting into it, or?
What did I listen to? I mean, when I first was into it, well, obviously we grew up listening to Daft Punk and all that. But one of the first bands records that I'd really listened to was like, wow, I like that, was Crossed by Justice, and I just loved the sheer just how ridiculously heavy and aggressive it sounded. I was like, what? How are they making these sounds? Why does it sound so angry but so danceable? Yeah. And that's what got me into that though. Dance music. I always loved dance music.
What's the other dance kind of? What's your kind of classic dance albums that you come back? Actually, I remember saying when I was researching for this, it was the EP that you put out. One of the influences you listed on it was Calvin Harris's second album.
Calvin Harris's second and first album, absolute classic masterpieces. Absolute.
Second album's mental. Yeah.
Second album's fantastic. Like,
second album's better. I think the second album's better than first. Do you kind of?
I find it hard to compare them really, because
it's a big progression.
Yeah, I mean the first one is absolute DIY bedroom stuff, and I love it because of that. But the second one is just so clean and so cool, and just
that song, "I'm Not Alone."
Yeah, man. Oh, I remember
one of my favourite songs. Probably.
I remember first hearing that. I was like, what is this? What is this nonsense? Or the one that was in the Coca-Cola advert. The yeah la la la. Yeah. That was like, what? What's going on?
Do you venture into stuff past that, or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think, he's always Calvin Harris himself. He's always got a good ear on him.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, we didn't listen to I loved 18 Month. That's when
that's the one where every song is basically a massive single.
Yeah, everyone was like a top top 10 or something like that, and there was some absolute bounce with Khalees. That was insane.
Is that the one with the
bounce? You know, it's like I mean, maybe at the time, I was like fourth year, fifth year. I was just like, shut up! I don't like pop music. I like mindless self-indulgence and the Cat House. Still like the Cat House, of course. But they're going back to these are absolute pop masterpieces. Yeah. Maybe the fourth album.
So well produced as well.
Oh yeah, I mean maybe the fourth album, Motion, didn't really bother, to be perfectly honest. But Funk Laughs was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And there's one single, My Way, I believe. It's really good. I feel like it's a very underrated tune. That was out maybe like 2 years ago.
No, not sure about it. So you put out, was the hit the first single?
French Exit was the first single.
The hit was the
second.
And then you was the only two off it, or?
Well, then we put Heavy Handed out
after
the hit, but that was like a week before the album dropped.
Just to get people excited for it.
Yeah. It was just get people buzzed and hyped, like. Yeah. And more content.
With the hit, obviously, there's a lot of connotations you could take from that.
Mm.
But with obviously to look at it from like a pop kind of perspective.
Yes.
And what it's talking about there, perhaps. How do you measure your own success?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you, like? So obviously that song's talking about the hit, which is kind of what you. It's obviously that thing that a band only needs one song.
Yeah.
The hit. Uh-huh. That's what gets them big. As a band on your own, looking away from it commercially, how do you measure whether or not you're being successful in what you want to do?
I feel. I think I definitely feel a lot more at peace with it now than I did when that song came out. I think as long as if we're gigging,
you feel more at peace with what?
Well, just where we are and like the idea of success now. Yeah. Because you know life is life. But I feel like I am successful when I'm gigging, or there's a plan in place. Like there's just stuff happening. You know what I mean? But you need to make things happen. You need to do it. That's how I kind of. As long as I'm busy, I'll feel like I'm good.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like.
That's quite a nice note, actually. There was one more thing I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Phoenix.
Yes.
That.
Good band, man. Lovely.
I mean, when you support you obviously supported Phoenix at the Barrowlands.
Yes.
One of my favourite bands of all time.
One of my favourite bands of all time.
That must have been a dream come true. Tell your grandkids moment.
Oh, absolutely. They were incredible. Like, I remember when we got the message through, like 6 weeks before, on the Monday, I was about to go to work. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe this. This is absolutely nutty.
Did you get to meet them at it?
Oh yeah, we went up and talked to them afterwards. It was the bassist's birthday, so we walked in
nice.
and it was like everyone had a big party. So, but it was cool, man. They were really, really nice.
They're the most French band, very French.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a more French band.
I've watched a lot of interviews with them and stuff, and so French.
Oh, it's so French. Good. I don't know. I love a lot of French bands though.
I interviewed a really cool band, Psychotic Monks. You listen to them?
Psychotic? No.
Really fucking heavy band. One of the best live bands I've ever seen.
Yeah?
Saw them at broadcast. I saw them at to a crowd of about 15 people maybe.
Nice.
And just fucking mental. So good. Played for about an hour and a half and just.
Let me. What I'm going to take a note of that.
Psychotic Monks. They were good guys to chat to as well.
Nice.
Very French also. One thing they were speaking about, actually we had a chat about relating to your band.
Yeah.
That being vegan in France is a big no apparently.
Nah, it's
because they're from Paris and there's like one vegan restaurant and.
I mean, my auntie got married in the south of France a couple of years ago, and I think I had just plain pizza every day for 5 days.
Just nothing that's not got meat in it.
That was just like. Nah, mate. like take that back up to your fancy Glasgow. You know,
Glasgow's good for being a vegan.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So much stuff.
It's brilliant.
I guess the question on everyone's minds is: are you still just vegetarian, or have you gone?
I'm still just vegetarian.
I've not gone vegan yet.
I will go vegan in the near future.
Yeah,
but well, actually, it was my 6-year anniversary of being veggie the other day. Why
did you decide to go in the first place?
I like animals. I think it's wrong that people eat them. Yeah, I'm talking to you. With your lamb shank in your hand, listening at home.
I've got a leg of lamb in my hand, and I'm just tearing into it as we're having this conversation.
Talking to all your listeners who are currently enjoying a lamb shank right now. Put that down.
Do you like a vegan sausage roll at all from Greg's?
It's fantastic. It was absolutely a revelation because I'd not had one since 2012.
What do you make of Quorn?
Good. Make the whole range vegan, you absolute cowards, but good.
Yeah. I don't think it's. I think like the vegan sausage roll, but they're doing it, Greg's. It tastes different to corn. I don't know.
It does, yeah.
There's something about it.
It tastes great. Not huge on the steak bake though.
Not gone in for it yet. How is it?
It's all right. I don't. Maybe.
The steak bake's corn though, isn't it?
Steak bake's corn as well. I mean, it's good. I'm not enamored with it the same way I was with the sausage roll. You know, like.
So yeah, like you said, it was a revelation. It came out of unexpected, suddenly.
Yeah, it was the best thing they ever did. Like,
It saved Greg.
KFC vegan burger. I'd say 8 out of 10.
What is it, corn or?
I think maybe. I'm not sure. All I know is
Never gone in for a vegan burger at KFC. I've never gone into KFC in quite a long time.
No, I mean I went in just to try it. It's the first time I've been to KFC. Like even like was it like 2010 or something like that. I'm like, oh, hello. Like, but I mean, yeah, it's about 8 out of 10. I'd say. I feel like maybe I could.
Where's the steak bake stand on that scale?
6 to 7.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going for a 5, but
no, I mean, I don't want to rule it away. I've only had one, but I feel like I've not had it at its prime yet. I feel like I could get a better one, but I'm going to a slightly better Greg's maybe.
Yeah.
Well, they're quite consistent though, aren't they? Like
they're pretty much across the board, yeah. Well, I'll let you get away for a vegan steak bake and wrap this up by saying thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I enjoyed that.
God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night.
Good night, everyone. Take care.